Okay, so for this second part of budgeting, for the practice problem, we're going to be focusing on cash collections, the sales budget, and some stuff at the end of this cheat sheet. So to start, again, go to modules, go to the last module, go to final exam review problems 2, and we're going to be focusing on ABB practice problem 1 template and solution. So I'm going to pull up my cheat sheet, pull up this practice problem. So here's the problem itself. It gives you a bunch of information. So this first question says, what are the total gross sales before any discounts for October, November, and December? So basically, this first question is just asking you to make a sales budget. So why don't you try to find that based off of price and quantity? How much revenue will you make in those 3 months? Okay, as you should have gotten, the price and quantity should be $2,030 and then so on, making the total revenue for each month this. Okay, awesome. So this next part of the problem is saying, what are the cash collections for October, November, and December? Yeah, so I'm going to hide this. This is a little extra information. So this is basically asking you to make a cash collections budget. So for October, November, and December. So why don't you try a little bit of time working on that and see if you can figure that out. Okay, so here are the answers. And those are based off of these numbers up here. So it says that the music boxes have historically collected 20% of the sales in cash at the time of sale with a 5% cash discount. So that's just like my cheat sheet. Of the remaining 80% of sales, 40% is collected 1 month after, and 60% is collected 2 months after. August and September credit sales were 30,000 and 36,000 respectively. So let's just work with October. So in October, you're going to collect all this cash, but let's figure out exactly how much of October's cash is going to go to October, November, and December. Again, for October, you're going to collect, because that is the same month, the cash you're going to collect from October for October will just be that 20%. So I'm going to write it here. That will equal 0.2, the 20%, times, there's a 5% cash discount, so times 0.95 times the sales of October, which are 60,000. Therefore, the cash you collect in October from October is $11,400. Now, the cash you collect from October in November will be that 80% remaining sales because you took 20% out, and you're collecting it 1 month after, so that 80%, so 40% of that 80%, and again of that same $60,000 will get you $19.2 thousand for November. And for December, it's going to be the same thing, kind of. So the remaining 80% of the sales, and of the 80%, you're going to get 60% 2 months after, so times 0.6, and again times that 60,000 will equal 28.8 in December. And you're going to do that for the rest of these. And for August and September, remember that these are already given in credit, so you don't actually need to write down, you don't actually need to note the 80% because these are already the 80%. So this will just equal 40%, 60% of the 30%. I mean, $30,000. Okay, so these are our cash collections. I'm just going to kind of hide these so we only have our totals up so we can save some space. So this next part of the problem ended up asking how many units are you purchasing? I mean, how much raw materials are you purchasing? Yeah, how much are you purchasing in raw materials basically each month? I already did this for you because it's actually based off of the production budget in another budget, and we do that in another video. So I just kind of gave the answers here. So again, total sales is this Total cash collections is this. Purchase value is this. So then it asks you in this next question, it says, what are the cash payments for October, November, and December? So we're going to kind of do that here. That brings us down to this chart, cash payment chart. And it's very similar to cash, incoming cash, except this time it's what you're paying. So why don't you try to figure out how much cash would you pay based off of the cost you incur for production and all that stuff each month. So try to figure that out. So in this question, all that ends up being is 72,000, 144,000, and 36,000. And that's because it says that, where does it say it? It says, wait. Yeah, it says Music Boxes pays the Swiss manufacturer 30 days after the receipt of goods. So therefore, the amount we pay is just going to be the amount we purchase, but in the next month, in the month after, I should say. So in September, you spent 72,000. So in October, you're going to pay this much, and so on. So, So again, this 144 comes from October, 36 comes from November, because you're paying the month after. So then on the next part of the question, it says prepare a statement of cash flows. So in this, again, you have to going to include all the cash in and then all the cash out. So this was just the cash payments for the boxes, but this time we're going to look at all the cash payments, including the boxes, and every other thing we have to account for. So why don't you try preparing that? Just a statement of cash flows, given all this information. Is there? Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually going to pull up another form of this so that we go over the answers, and I can kind of point out where it mentions these in the problem itself. So sorry, we're looking for 5. Wait. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that. Okay, so so for number 5, our cash payments, we want to start off with the beginning cash. And because we don't always need to do this, but again, I mentioned that if they do give you a beginning cash, you might want to put that first. So it tells you somewhere that you start off with $200,000 in cash before any of the expenses or anything is taken into consideration. It says that I'm not sure what's up with this. Anyway, it says prepare a statement of cash flows for October, November, and December. Oh, I'm on the wrong problem here. Sorry, let me exit this out real quick. ABB. Yeah, ABB practice problem. Oh. Thanks. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, that stressed me out. So I'm just gonna pull this up without that. So again, it says here that the statement of cash flows for October, November, December, and all that started with $200,000. So we're gonna have to note that the beginning cash was $200,000 in October. The cash collections we already found were $43,800 for October, and so on. Next, we want to take into account the amount we spent each month. We actually paid for the music boxes. So these are the outs. And then remember, so we didn't actually just buy boxes this month, but we also had to account for some other expenses. So in here they said the music boxes incur variable SG&A expenses of $10 for commissions. Expense each month, $10 for commissions on gross sales. And they also have fixed monthly expenses of $25,000 including $3,000 of depreciation. So let's start with that variable. So the variable commission is 10%, and that is based off of that month's sales, because it says 10% of that month's sales. So October is $6,000. In November, you're paying $12,000. And then in fixed, again, it says monthly expense of $25,000, and that includes $3,000 of depreciation. So in these examples, you want to exclude depreciation because you're not paying somebody depreciation. You're not getting rid of cash. You're not actually giving them cash. Depreciation is just kind of like an abstract cost. You don't actually have to pay for it. It just occurs. So yeah, so your fix is only $22,000 in cash that's leaving you, even though it's $25,000 in costs. So the change in cash flow then would equal just the cash collections minus these disbursements for the music boxes minus these other costs equals these negative net costs. Well, this is a positive one. So the end cash is just your beginning cash minus, including the change in cash. So these are the end cash. $200,000 plus the negative $56,200 gives you an end cash for October of $143,800. So that is how you make a statement of cash flows. Again, you just want to start mainly prioritize the cash collections, cash disbursements, and then any other cash flows, negative or positive. And if they include a beginning cash, just note the beginning cash and then the end cash. So yeah, that's basically all there is to budgeting. There's that one final little part which we'll go over. So yeah, I'm gonna hide these so we have, so we have our information all here. So in this final part, we're discussing variances because as you can see, it asks, assume the sales mix for October were 21,000 units at $29 per unit. What is the variance approach to explain this difference? So I'm going to go to the variances, pull them up here, and I want you to kind of look at these differences, these variances in sales volume and sales price, and kind of explain to me exactly why the revenue is different than what you budgeted based off of the difference in units and difference in price per unit. So why don't you try that out real quick? All you really need is these, these, and then these numbers they gave you. So test that out. Okay, so first of all, let's find our the actual budgeted revenue and actual revenue. So the budgeted sales, again, you expected 2,000 units at a price of $30 per unit to get 60,000 units. So the actual sales ended up being, 2,100 units at a price of $29 per unit, so 60.9 thousand units. And so the total difference, the total variance, we know is a favorable amount of $900. So the way we actually can explain that is by using these variances approach. So first, let's find the sales volume variance. So the volume variance, is again the actual minus the budgeted units times the budgeted price per unit. So we're going to do the actual units, which were 2,100, minus the budgeted, which were 2,000, multiplied by the budgeted price per unit, which was $30. So our volume variance was in positive $3,000. So then our price variance, again, is actual units times actual minus budgeted price per unit. So our price variance equals the actual units times actual minus budgeted price per unit. So the actual units were 2,100. I've literally not done that. Okay, so the 2,100 actual units multiplied by the actual minus budgeted price per unit. So the actual price per unit was $29. The budget was $30. So we can already tell that's going to be negative. Therefore, we expected to lose $2,100 in revenue compared to what we budgeted. However, as we know, the total variance, I'm just gonna, yeah. So the total variance, again, will equal the volume variance plus the price variance, is $900 favorable, which also equals just the actual minus the budgeted revenue. So that's what we see here. And so the way to explain this would again just be to say, for the and so you would start again with the volume variance, then price variance to explain total variance. All you would say is we expected to sell 2,000 units, but we sold 2,100 units. So we would have made $3,000 more than what we were budgeting. However, we also expected to sell them at $30 per unit. However, we only sold them for $29 per unit. So that would have knocked down our revenue by $2,100 than what we budgeted. But with these two put together, they ended up increasing our actual revenue from our budgeted revenue by $900. And so that explains the variance that we see between the budgeted and actual sales. So that is really all there is to budgeting. So I'm going to finish this and then we can work on the balanced scorecard.